3.5 years ago, my wife started displaying memory loss issues. And more recently, following 6 major falls and hospitalization, we realized we were unprepared for what we were facing. I began writing at home my own will and purchasing a couple of Jippo-type will kits. Fortunately, we didn't follow through with that. We were blessed to have seen an ad in our paper for a meeting at a nearby library. And there we heard from Lynn St Louis. And what an eye-opener. We realized, based on the circumstances that we're experiencing at this very time, that she's offering a couple of avenues, one especially to protect at least 50% of our estate, and the other more important thing, 24/7 care for my wife when it's needed. That was critical. The most important thing from our experience with Lynn St Louis at that first meeting at the library, and then secondly when we came to the elder law offices, was the thoroughness and the means by which they put us at ease. Obviously, we had a lot of questions. There was nothing they couldn't answer. We were enlightened on some issues. We didn't realize that there were legal processes in the state of Washington and Idaho where we could qualify under certain circumstances for Medicaid for my wife's long-term care. That's revolutionary. The other was all the things that they defined for us in terms of powers of attorney for 2 of our children for different functions in the will, how it evolves to a trust, and the various things that we had to do to meet all the legal requirements. So we just had great relief after those meetings. They were so thorough, and we left quite comfortable. The one thing that they clarified for us was issues surrounding an annuity. You cannot qualify for Medicaid if you have an annuity. We were amazed at that revelation. The other was certain banking regulations. Our daughter had visited us, who is the executor of all financial matters of the estate, and we put her on our bank accounts. Well, it turns out you cannot be, as they call it, an owner of a bank account, but you can be a signer. So we've since corrected that. Anyway, they have just taken so much pressure off of us. When we got through the entire process with elder law, you cannot imagine the relief, both on my wife's behalf, because she's still functioning well, but we know what we're facing. And we just consider ourselves blessed to have created the will and the trusts. It was awesome, the things that were divulged to us that clarified things that I thought weren't necessarily confusing, but that I was a little surprised at the language. I learned a lot of legal terms. Anyway, I can only thank elder law. I'm serious. I'm 80 years old. I know I'm not going to be here that much longer. And my wife is facing a very uncertain future medically. Had we not done this, we would have been financially devastated within 4 years. That's critical. We want something for our family. We have a modest estate. We're not wealthy, but we're blessed. And to have them take care of all these issues for us just took a ton off our shoulders. There are a number of people on our cul-de-sac, 2 of whom are having a spouse experiencing Alzheimer's. Another one was a friend of an individual that lives on our street who just experienced a $1,600 a month increase in care for his wife, which is outrageous. And I've passed out both brochures from elder law and also an article that was in Consumers Reports a 1.5 years ago that really addressed some of the issues they were facing with their loved one. So I grabbed more brochures today, and fortunately in my tract where we live, there's a number of elderly who might be interested. But I normally don't do that kind of thing. But we have been so impressed with our experience at Elder Law that when you see the heartfelt needs of other people, it's pretty easy to speak of it. So we won't quit.